as Americans, we have this idea of what success should look like.
Yep.
We all want the biggest house.
Yep.
We all want the nicest car. We all want to go on 3 vacations a year. We need to understand that it might be possible that God's calling us to do something that will not give you those things. And I kind of had this false belief growing up that like if I wanted to be holy, I needed to be a priest. That was a big lie. I can picture like in high school in confession with a priest of mine kind of going through some spiritual direction. And he was just like breaking this lie that you can only be holy if you're a priest. And he was like, that is not true. As a married man and as a father, like you need to be holy if you're a husband and father.
Yeah.
You can't do it well if you're not holy.
You got married at 19,
that's
and
right.
Caroline was 20.
That's
Why
right.
did you get married so young?
I didn't have it all figured out. I didn't have all finances in a row. I didn't have a perfect job. I didn't have a house. You know, I was living with my parents while I was engaged to save money. Like what college kid wants to do that? But I did that because like it was a sacrifice I was willing to make. But like maybe just like the ordinary life is where God is going to call me to be holy.
Welcome back to another episode of Saints in the Parish podcast. I am very glad to be joined by one of my good friends, Josh Murphy. Used to work here at the Parish with us. He has moved on, and he's now, which he can talk about a little bit, but he's now the youth minister at the neighboring parish.
Yep. Christ the King.
Christ the King. You've been there for a few months now.
Been there for 8 months, I think.
8 months? Okay.
Since July.
That's not really why I brought him on. We're going to talk a little bit more about his vocation. He's married. He's expecting his first child, and he looks kind of young. So we're gonna talk about his vocation of marriage, why he decided to get married so young to his wife Caroline, and just very, very happy to have you on with us.
I'm happy to be here. I was thinking about the last time I was on. I was like, wow, my life has changed a lot since way back then. Whenever that was at the old studio too. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I always love a good opportunity to come back to St. Lawrence.
Yeah,
miss being around this parish, but
yeah.
So happy to be here.
Good. Well, before we get started, just give us a little bit about yourself. Just kind of a brief upbringing, and then kind of your vocation. Now.
Yeah. So my name's Josh Murphy. Born and raised here in Alabama, Fairhope, Alabama. I went to Christ the King for school growing up. I guess I should go back. I'm one of 7. So. Big Catholic family. I'm kind of in the middle. 2 older brothers, an older sister, 3 younger siblings. So, big Catholic family. Born and raised Fairhope. Went to Christ the King and then went to St. Michael in high school. Graduated from there. Went to Auburn for a year and then moved back down here to work at St. Lawrence and finishing school online at University of West Florida. And then now director of youth ministry at Christ the King to do the high school and the middle school youth group. So both of those. And then I got married this past May to my wife. We met in high school, started dating junior year of high school. So dated for a few years, got married this past May, and then have a baby coming in June. So life is just kind of going like at warp speed, crazy. Yeah. But it's been a blessing. It's been as crazy as it is. It truly is like the most joyful. I couldn't picture a more joyful life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, we'll just jump right in then. I was telling you before we started, when the 2024 U.S. Census came out, which was the last time they did the census, they asked, what is the median age for marriage in America? And I know you were shocked because I was shocked as well that the median age for marriage in America for men is 30 years old and for women is 29 years old.
Yeah, crazy.
I follow that up because you got married at 19
that's right.
And Caroline was 20.
That's right.
So you bucked that by 10 years.
Yeah.
So why? why did you get married so young when you were still, you're obviously still in college. So you got married like really your sophomore year of college?
Year of college, right,
so,
right at the end of it.
What led to that? Why did you get married so young?
Yeah. Well, part of it might just be my personality is I'm the type where I'm like, if society is doing one thing, I'm like, I'm going to do the opposite. But, which there might be some deeper truth to that with the society we have today. But, no, I just it's hard to even describe really other than like when you feel like God is calling you to do something, it's like, if you look in the scriptures, like you can give all kinds of excuses, but at the end of the day, the Lord is like, if I'm calling you to this, like regardless of age, regardless of status, regardless of where you're at in life, like if he's going to call me to do something, he's also going to like give me the grace to do it and he's going to provide. And so that's kind of what went into it really was just, okay, I'm going to take the leap of faith and do what I feel like God is leading me towards, and he's going to provide. He's not going to call me to something and then just hang me out to dry. So even though as crazy as it was getting married at 19, I didn't have, again, I was a sophomore in college. Literally the week before our wedding, I was taking exams, like literally. So I mean, like life was just, I didn't have it all figured out. I didn't have all finances in a row. I didn't have a perfect job. I didn't have a house. I was living with my parents while I was engaged to save money. Like what college kid wants to do that? But I did that because like it was a sacrifice I was willing to make to save money, to like get all my ducks in a row to get married. And, it was just more like, I remember sitting in the chapel, like just praying about getting engaged. And it was literally just like, who am I to deny what you're calling me to, Lord? If this is truly what you're calling me to, like, who am I to deny that? And so kind of from there, it was just a leap of faith. And yeah.
Yeah. So what led to that leap of faith? Like how did you have enough faith to do that? Cause I know, I'm older than you. I'm not like, I'm not middle-aged. I mean, I'm 28. So, and I got married at 25. So, I mean, I was younger, not as young as you, but, even for me, like I was like in a full-time job, benefits.
Right.
And even then, like I didn't have everything together.
Right.
And, it was still in a sense a leap of faith. Like Julia, she graduated from college 2 weeks before our wedding. Yeah. So she had accepted a job, but she hadn't even started the job before we got married.
Yeah.
And so it was a leap of faith, but I can't imagine doing that in college.
Right.
So, I hope that I would have had the faith to take the leap, and I do things now, I guess, that involve that. But what led you to have that kind of faith that God would provide?
Yeah. Well, I guess I should go back and say that my family was super on board with it, so that was super helpful. My parents got married at right when my parents both graduated from college. They got married right then. And then my dad ended up having to go back to grad school, and they were married during grad school. So my dad was kind of doing night school while working, kind of a similar thing to what I was doing. And then my wife's parents, my in-laws, they got married at 19. So it was kind of just a family thing. So it wasn't really like, as far as the family goes, it wasn't something that was crazy for the family.
Yeah.
So I had that kind of foundation of where like I had the support. Like whenever I was going to like ask permission to propose to Caroline, like I wasn't afraid that my father-in-law was going to be like, "You're an idiot. Why are you trying to get married at 19?" Because I knew that he'd done the same thing. And so he kind of understood that. So I had that foundation. But I think as far as like how I was able to like take the leap of faith and say yes to this, obviously like the biggest decision of my life, was that I think the few years leading up to that, since my conversion, like I had been trying and practicing to say yes to God in small ways, like just super small ways, is like just day by day. And we can get into like kind of the discernment more so later on, but like it was literally just like saying yes in small ways, and then God like kind of revealed this big yes to me, but I'd already been practicing saying yes to him. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like out of nowhere I just was like, oh, I'm going to do God's will. It was like I was striving to do it day by day in the very small, just, today I'm going to pray. Today I'm going to frequent this. Like I'm going to go to mass today, even if I don't feel like it, even if, even if I don't want to clean up after myself, or if I don't want to go to work today, it's like you do that. You say yes in small ways because that is God's will. Like the small things are his will. And if I was just like, nah, like living life just like I don't care, whatever, I'm not going to say yes to the Lord, then I wouldn't have been able to say yes in this big way. But yeah, because of I guess I had this receptivity, and like I was just constantly trying to say yes to the small things. So if I did that, then I could, God willing, say yes to the big things.
So in that, what was Caroline's thought process? Yeah. I'm sure you've obviously talked about it, but from her side, as the woman in the relationship, did she have the same experience of saying yes to, obviously it wasn't a shock that you proposed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she obviously was on board with, being 19 or 20 as well.
Right. Yeah.
So how was that for her? Did y'all have that conversation together of like, we're going to take this leap together. We're going to trust what God's doing. And, cause we trust that this is what God is calling us to.
Yeah. For her, it was actually honestly her discernment and she so faithful and so devout. So for her, it was honestly, I think she trusted more than I did.
That's how my wife is as well.
That's right. Yeah. Caroline, she's just like, she'll just, whatever the Lord, like, she just is very kind of receptive and open to whatever God wants. And so I was probably a little bit more nervous. But for her, it was like her discernment was more clear than mine. It was like, she knew, like, after our first date, she went home and called one of her best friends and said, I'm going to marry Josh, like literally when we were 16 years old. And she kind of like never wavered in that really. Not in like an imprudent way, but like she really like kind of just like trusted that like, and that it just, whereas I was more so like, I don't know, like, do I go to seminary? And we've told y'all this, but like multiple times I almost just like broke up with her because I was like, I feel like I'm called to seminary.
Yeah.
Like, what is God called me to be a priest? Like, how do I know? And so I was more like the anxious type of like, how do I know I'm doing the right thing? Whereas she was more like steady. So for her, it was like honestly easier than for me because she had just been like on this steady path of like, this is what I feel like God wants. Whereas I was like always up and down, like something that I really struggled with in our relationship was like riding the roller coaster of emotions of like the high highs. I'm like, this is what God wants. And then the low lows, like, I need to go be a priest or just like, but she was more just able to just steady and just like ride it out regardless. And so for her, it was like such an easy transition into, I think, like getting engaged and getting married.
Yeah. So this is a great segue into your discernment because that's what you're talking about. But take us through your process of discernment. So obviously I know you discern seminary,
right?
Like hopefully most men do. At least you're open to it and you kind of think about it before you get married, but you obviously seriously discern that. So take us through kind of what that process looked like, feeling a call to discern seminary, discerning it, realizing that you were called to marriage. And then also, as you were discerning that, how did her steadiness, did that play a part in your discernment? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I like I said, I was really unsteady. So if it wasn't for her steadiness, I think in a lot of ways it probably may not have worked out because, I think I really, I guess just throughout the relationship, I constantly was fearful that I was just like, I think it all came down to, I viewed God like in a wrong way. I was afraid that like I had to prove my worth to him. Like I had to be enough for him. I had to get it all right. Like, and I kind of had this false belief growing up that like, if I wanted to be holy, I needed to be a priest. I didn't, there was a big lie that really like, I can picture like in high school in confession with a priest of mine, kind of going through some spiritual direction. And he was just like breaking this lie that you can only be holy if you're a priest. And he was like, that is not true. Like as a married man and as a father, like you actually, you need to be holy if you're a husband and father. You can't do it well if you're not holy. And that was a huge breakthrough for me because up to that point I was like, oh, if I want to be a priest, I'm going to like, or if I want to like be a saint or be holy, I have to be a priest and give everything away and like sacrifice. That's the only way God will love me. And the only way that God will think I'm holy. Which is obviously super flawed, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't mean to cut you off. This is just adding to your thought, but I don't know, 50%, 60% of Catholic young men, I would say feel exactly the same way.
Well, that's so interesting you say that because with my job as youth minister, I walk with a lot of guys that are discerning and just walk with a lot of guys in general in life, but the vast majority of them, and it was really something that what I kind of have pinned it on is it's like, I see it in them and I see it in myself. It was almost like an idolization of vocation. Like it was really an idol for me. It was like, it was everything. And I think to just like step back and realize like, okay, this is just a way to live like whatever I choose. It's just like a way to like love the Lord. It's not this crazy thing that is out there and have to try to find it. And it's I have to, I think I thought that what vocation meant was like proving that I was good enough to God.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not what it is. It's just
Yeah.
a response, you know, it's just a response. And,
Yeah.
and ultimately I think I realized like, I guess I had this flawed view that like discernment was just like God was just, if I prayed enough that God was just going to like somehow like speak his voice from the clouds and
Yeah.
say like, be a priest or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But I think what I realized is that it was more so in like the day to day of like, God gave me desires. What do I desire? And then like, is that a good desire? And then like, what do I feel like there's the most peace with? And like, also the biggest part of it was just what was God opening up? Like what doors was he opening? What doors was he closing? And I just tried to be as receptive as I could to that. I didn't do it perfectly. Obviously, Caroline can probably attest to this. It was kind of like I said, I use the word roller coaster of emotions because it was like, it was in a lot of ways, I think it was, like I said, it was the idolization. And I think it affected our relationship negatively as I was like, what if I'm supposed to go to seminary? And then like, I would like kind of push her away in some ways. And I'd be like, you know what I mean? So I got to a point where I went on a come and see, and at that come and see, I was just like, okay, I got to the idea that this was the end of my senior year of high school. So we've been dating for almost 2 years. And it was, Caroline can say like the whole weekend, she was just at home, just like with her
Pins and
parents. She was
needles.
just crying like, I don't want him to break. He's going to break up. I know he's going to go there and like it. And he's going to want to break up with me. So, but God worked through all that. And I think a lot of it was so let me just say first about the come and see, like it was like, I realized if I am called to seminary, it's not right now. So God kind of just gave me like, he didn't reveal the whole plan to me, but I knew I was like, at least it's not for right now.
Yeah.
And so I went to Auburn, and then that next year at Auburn, actually, I went on a silent retreat, the first silent retreat of my life. And this is why I preach to my high schoolers a lot about this, is it's like silence is like where God speaks. Like that is where he 100% gave me my vocation to like marry Caroline. I was on this silent retreat, and I just like, I was looking up it was Father Patrick Gilbreth, and he was like celebrating mass up there, up at the altar at Sacred Heart. It was a Holy Spirit hall. And so I was just like in the pews, and I was just like praying, like really it had been like a couple years of me like kind of pushing off like a decision really of like fully pursuing Caroline or like breaking up with her and going to seminary.
Yeah.
And I was so anxious and just like, I really needed this weekend, and he's just up there. And I realized I kind of like, it was one of the few times I can really say that the Lord like really clearly spoke to me. And I realized that all of my like desire to be a priest and like me not wanting to like pursue Caroline and eventually get married to her was pride. I realized it was pride. Like I had this idea again, like I said, that if I want to be like good and holy, I need to be a priest, and like I could be a good priest.
Yeah.
And I think, again, this was really pride of like looking out and you see like society today and you see like priests today and you're like, oh, like I could be, you know, you see like the crazy priests, the crazy
I could
liberal.
be so much better than
Right.
that.
The crazy liberal priest. And you're like,
Yeah.
I could be way better than that. And it's like, that's not a call.
Yeah.
That's pride. That's 100%
Yeah.
pride. And you need to like get that in check. And so I just remember through that weekend, like realizing like maybe just like the ordinary life is where God is going to call me to be holy. And I was reading this book Father Gilbreth gave us. It's called He Leadeth Me by Father Walter Shizek. Basically, he was a Jesuit priest, but long story short, he ended up in like a Russian work camp right after World War II. And he wanted to be this great big priest and like preach, but he ended up just living in a prison for years and years doing hard manual labor. And what he writes about is just how in this ordinary like circumstances of my life, like getting up and eating and then going to work, like God is in that. And like that is where holiness can be found. It's not always in some crazy big thing. And so that through that, like that was speaking to me, like you don't have to like do something crazy. Like I have given you this awesome, like I've given you Caroline, who's awesome and holy and amazing. And it's like, why not just like pursue her and like sacrifice your life for her?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of when I got home from that silent retreat, it's like kind of where I was like, okay, like this is what God wants. And then we got engaged like 5 months after that.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that story just speaks to so many people's experience. You know, just, I'm thinking back to my own discernment because I didn't meet Julia, my wife, until after I left seminary. But yeah, I think I also had that same type of experience where maybe I did idolize the priesthood. I don't know. I'd have to think about that some more, but I don't think I necessarily made it into an idol, but I definitely had the same mindset of priesthood equaled holiness and priesthood equals, a surefire way to serve God, like explicitly.
Yeah.
Which is just not true.
Yeah.
It is a way,
yeah.
and it's a great way. And so, I think it takes some maturity or some spiritual and physical maturity to get to that point.
Yeah.
To where you realize that.
I even I kind of through this process, I remember talking to Father Steve one day. He's like, Josh, I look out in the congregation and I see some husbands and fathers out there, and and he's like, I want to be like holy like them. Like he's like, there's people out in the congregation that are holier than me. Like he said that in humility. And he's like, so I say that to say, Josh, you don't like to be a priest is not to be the holiest person on the planet. It's like, whatever God is calling you to do, that is what will make you holiest. Yeah. Right. And so I think that really was a breakthrough for me. And then also I misunderstood the idea that like priesthood and celibacy is a higher calling. Because it's like how we will live in heaven, really. Yeah. So I misunderstood that was the case. So I thought that meant, it's better. Yeah. And like in some ways, yes, but also really the better thing is to do what God is calling you to.
Yeah, your specific calling.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great clarification because I think I do hold the position that it is a higher calling. Yeah.
Because it's a supernatural call.
It's a supernatural call, but it's because it's supernaturally higher doesn't mean that it's intrinsically better for everybody. Yeah. And also I think it is a call for us and for people listening that are husbands, specifically husbands, but wives as well, that like we have to be holier. Yeah. Because if you see holiness lived out, you want to emulate holiness. So if you're only seeing holiness lived out in the priesthood, then that's not a problem with the priesthood. That's a problem with the married couples in your lives that aren't giving you a good example. Yeah. And so it just speaks to the need to sacrifice, as you talked about.
Yeah.
And
I think like if people think that like the getting married is like the easy way out of like, it's not.
It is not.
It's so sanctifying. It's like
it's very sanctifying.
It's not just like an easy walk in the park. Like it's beautiful and awesome, and it's like so fun and joyful, and like I love it. But like I have been sanctified so much in 10 months of marriage.
Yeah, and you're about to be really sanctified.
Really sanctified. You got a baby coming.
When Caroline wakes up at 2 a.m. with the baby crying and and the baby's not hungry. Yeah. And she reaches over and hits you on the arm and says, "Get up and go rock that child." Yeah.
That's right.
Go rock your daughter to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, that's right. I literally fell asleep an hour ago. I am absolutely exhausted. Yeah. But you get up.
That's right.
You go in there and you go rock that baby to sleep.
You just do your daily duties, and that's what's holy.
Yeah. Like for you, for me, like that's like going to anoint somebody that's dying. Like that's your that is what you do.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way. It's like waking up in the middle of the night to go like take care of your daughter is like a priest waking up in the middle of the night to go anoint somebody.
Yeah. Like that's who you're called to take care of.
Yeah.
Your wife, obviously, especially, but your children as well.
Right. I think people like will think like, oh, it's so much holier and awesome to do that as a priest because it seems like, going to anoint somebody versus I'm just changing a diaper. Yeah. It's like, well, changing a diaper, like, but it's like, that's holy. Like that's
sanctifying.
That is sanctifying because who wants to change a diaper first off? But like, that's just you doing what, like within your vocation, the duties that are, you're called to within your vocation.
Yeah. Like you taking care of your child, like for you is a matter of like, this might be a bold way to put it, but you taking care of your child is like a matter of like sinning or not sinning. Maybe not quite to that degree, but you doing the duty that you're called to do, like that is what you are called to do. Yeah. Like you abandoning, not physically abandoning, but you sitting on your phone and ignoring your wife and screaming child and not going up to help. Like that's a big problem.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
I would say that's sinful.
That's like you're not doing the duty that you're called to do. Yeah. And so I think it's a call for all of us to reorient the way we think about marriage and the way we think about being a husband or being a spouse. That is that is a sanctifying endeavor.
Yeah. I think people just think like, oh, marriage is just something you do. Everybody gets married. Like it's just always been a thing, and it's just this ordinary thing. And it's like, it seems ordinary, but it is like extraordinary. And I know it's not supernatural in the way the priest is, but it is supernatural because it's like you're responding to God's grace. I mean, it's a sacrament. There's a reason that it's a sacrament, you know?
Right.
So I think it's like, this is where holiness can be found.
Yeah.
Like be a good husband and be a good father.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think I need to hear that. I know people in the audience need to hear that. And so that's really, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I need to hear it too. I try to remind myself of it every day.
I know. So getting married at 19, most 19-year-olds are in college and, living a single life and doing the things that involve being a single person in college.
Right. Yep.
Obviously, you have the same tendencies that we all do.
Yeah.
Like that, your counterpart, specifically your Catholic counterpart at Auburn, who's in your same shoes, but is not getting married.
Yeah.
What did you have to root out of yourself to go from that, living that life to getting married?
Yeah. It's funny you asked that because I was literally just talking about that with a friend yesterday who is like one of my good friends at Auburn in college, not married, doesn't have a child on the way, very completely different circumstances. And we were just talking about like what marriage has done to me from like when I was just living in college. And I was like, even just giving small examples of like, when I was living with guys, like it didn't matter if I left dirty dishes in the sink or left my dirty socks somewhere.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. Like it's like that's not gonna cut it with a woman. Like with being married, it's like you don't leave your like dirty clothes everywhere. You don't leave the house a mess. Like Caroline went whenever we were had only been married for a couple months. She went out to like California for like a week to visit some family out there or some friends out there, and so like. By like day 5, the house was just a mess. And I was like, wow, this is what happens when I don't have like someone else that I'm like actively trying to be virtuous for.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a mess.
Left to your own devices.
That's right. Exactly.
You're like unraveling.
Yeah. And so that was actually like a breakthrough moment for me where I was like, okay, this sacrament is sanctifying and it is making me. And so to answer that, I think like the biggest thing that I had to like be like purified of was selfishness and laziness. Those two. It's like I have to get up every day and go to work.
Yeah.
I have to come home and I have to be there for my wife, soon to be a daughter, like to be there for her. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. I can't watch 3 episodes of a show every night if I want to. I can't scroll on my phone for 3 hours a day. I can't. It's like I'm in school too. So it's like I have all these responsibilities that I have to manage. And it's like, so time management was a big thing. Yeah. Like I can't just do whatever I want whenever I want.
Yeah.
And that was something like when I was at Auburn, like I could, if I didn't have class that morning, I could sleep in till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And I could like go to the gym and work out, and then I could go hang out with my friends, and I could pretty much do whatever I wanted. And it's like, but even in the midst of all that, I would say I was less free than I am now. Like this is something I've talked about with a lot of people, is like getting married, like people say like, oh, it ties you down.
Yeah.
I would say I'm more free now, like to do what I ought to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than like what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then that there's actually more joy and peace in that.
Yeah.
And so just like, I kind of like putting off the old man and putting on like Christ. Like that's what I'm trying to do as a husband. And that's like what I've had to do.
Yeah.
Because if I was just living however I wanted to, like that's not going to cut it with a wife. It's not like it's a sacrament, and it's sanctifying for a reason, because it's like you have to be selfless.
Yeah. So before you got married, kind of before you proposed, or even during the engagement, what was the best or the most helpful piece of advice about that you received?
Yeah, I think kind of just this idea throughout my whole kind of like post-conversion, and then it kind of culminated when I was like asking my father-in-law permission to propose. But it was this idea like God will provide. God will provide. Like if like he's a good God, he's a good father. Like he's not just going to hang me out to dry. Yeah. And so it was this idea of, especially with finances, that was kind of the thing that I was most afraid of when I was going to like getting to proposal and all that is, but it was a process of learning that from even before I was even dating Caroline of like, God will provide for me. God will take care of me.
Yeah.
And then, so I was going to ask my father-in-law for permission to get engaged, to propose. And I was kind of talking a little bit about kind of just some fears that I had, specifically like financially. And he was like, God will provide. Like, God will provide. If this is what he's calling you to, like, he will provide.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because literally, like, we got married, we went on our honeymoon, come back from our honeymoon, and I literally get a job offer the following week for like better pay and a really good, a good job at Christ the King. And so, and I remember him saying to my wife, Caroline, he was like, I told you God will provide. Yeah. And it was literally just like, okay, yeah, he does. He will provide. Like, if we are willing to go out on a limb, the gospel at our wedding was Peter stepping out of the boat onto the water with Jesus, because that has been something that was like taking that huge leap of faith. Like, could you imagine having to like walk out on stormy seas and like step out of a boat? Like, you could drown, and it's like, but God is there, and like with faith, like you can walk on the water with him. Yeah. But then even if you do start to fall and sink, like he grabs you. Yeah. And so that was our gospel at our wedding, and that's really what it has been. Is it's like, I'm going to step out on the water, and Jesus, you are there, and like you will provide. And so, again, I was like trying to train. God was trying to get that through my brain as I was kind of growing up, I think. And then I get to engagement, and he's like, God will provide. Yeah. And then he did, and he still has been, and it's not been there's still hardships and life is crazy, but like through it all, like I can see God's hand in it, and he's providing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did you get any pushback?
Yeah.
In that same time?
Yeah. There
you
was
don't have to throw anybody under the bus.
No, I won't throw anybody under the bus, but there was some. I mean, like I said, our families were great. Yeah. But I remember like people would just be like, why are you wasting your life to do that? You have the rest of your life to get married. Yeah. Don't you want to have fun before you get married? Yeah. Which to me, I always laugh, because it's just like, okay, it sounds like you have a miserable marriage then. Yeah. Like if you're saying like, oh, just have fun before you're married, and then once you get married, no more fun. It's like, that's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah. It is fun. Like I've had more fun now being married than before. You know, it's like, so there was pushback of like, just have fun now, and then you'll get the ball and chain or whatever. And then it's just like I can remember a specific conversation right before I got married with somebody. I was working here one day, and someone was just like, just once you get married, like you're never gonna be able to do anything that you want, and you're just gonna have to do everything your wife says, and just be ready. Like the best thing you can say is yes, ma'am, and just do it. And I'm like, that's not how marriage is. No, that's not. Like I'm not just. It's not something that's supposed to be. It's not something that's supposed to be miserable. It's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be like joyful. It's hard. Yeah. It's sanctifying, but it's supposed to be joyful and peaceful and awesome. And and that's what it has been. And so, but that was the greatest pushback. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you? I mean, I guess we look at society today, and it's like what half of marriages fail. And so, I mean, it makes sense why people are like, why would you want to do that? Right. But it's like, no, this is awesome. Really. Yeah. And so that was really the main pushback that I got. And I guess like people would be like financially too, like, what are you doing? Or people were like, you're going to wait to have kids though, right? Right. Like it's not really up to me to decide that one there. So, but that was really the main pushback, was like, why would you do that to yourself? Yeah. Yeah. And again, I mean, that pushback was immediately answered by Philip. It's like, God will provide. Yeah. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. Like I can picture like asking, I was sitting on the back porch and I asked him, and like it was just like a very much of a peaceful, like, God will provide. And the way that he was able to give me that advice is because that he's lived his life that way. Yeah. I mean, they got married at 19. They have 10 children. They've been very open to whatever God wants for them. Yeah. Open to life, the family has been very blessed by just doing what God has asked them to do. Yeah. And so being able to see that in other people, and my parents too, and my family too, my dad and my mom were just like, go for it. Yeah. They were just like, go for it. If you feel like this is what God's calling you to do, go for it. Yeah. And so there really wasn't a ton of crazy pushback. That's awesome. Some of my friends were like, they would make jokes about it, but they weren't even like they all would say like, I'm happy for you. That's awesome. Yeah. Even the ones that were like in college, and they're just like, I can't imagine being married with a baby on the way. Yeah. But really, there hasn't been a ton of pushback other than like a few people would just be like, "Oh, marriage is awful. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself." I'm
like, I'm not following your advice.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
particularly care what you
That's right.
think
Exactly.
about my life.
Yeah.
So
100%.
no, that's great. Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, even, you know, Julia was 23, I was 25. I mean, they just said the same stuff to us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I had a job. She was graduated. She had a job. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the irony, which is great that you're on here because you kind of witness to the opposite of what the culture says, because, you know, it's get yourself in order, get your finances in order, get your job in order, like get all of these externals situated and have your fun and then do it.
Well, and the funny thing about that is like you never will be you never will be ready for it.
Yeah.
So it's just like then at that point, just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Like you never will be ready. And I was talking this about with one of my friends. I think the longer that you wait to get married, the harder it is because you're more set in like your habits.
Yeah.
Like I had a lot of bad habits before I was married, but if I had 10 more years, I know for different people, like the Lord's will is different for different people. Like it's not all should be the same timeline. I'm not saying everybody should get married at 20.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, if I would have waited another 10 more years, I can't imagine how many more like bad habits would be like rooted in me that would have to be like purified when I was getting married. But like at 20 years old, Caroline and I, we can grow together.
Yeah.
Like we have 10 more years of growth and becoming selfless and being holy. And so it's like, to me, it was like the earlier you do it, like not like rip the Band-Aid off, but like the earlier you do it,
Why wait?
Like why wait? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, if you know this is what God wants, why wait?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's a great kind of vocational discernment advice for people is, you know, if God's calling you to something,
Go for it.
go for it.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, if he's telling you yes, there's a reason why he's telling you yes. So take the leap of faith, say yes, and trust that he will provide for you.
And I knew that if I didn't say yes, like I think about the rich young man who had many possessions. He went away sad.
Yeah.
The scripture says he went away sad when the Lord called him and he said no.
Yeah.
For he had many possessions. And it's like, I would have went away sad if I would have not said yes. And I would look back with a lot of regret.
Yeah.
But I don't have to look back with regret. I can look back with like gratitude that the Lord gave me the grace, because it wasn't my own strength doing it. Like it's very countercultural, but it was just being receptive to the grace that God was giving me.
Yeah. So so going from that, from marriage now to having a child, what is, you know, as much pushback as you got, or as people would give for getting married so young, maybe more pushback for having a child so young. And also only 4 months into marriage,
Right.
Y'all getting pregnant and now having a child, in a few months, not super soon, but
Right.
What have you had any pushback for that? Again, probably not from your family, because they're very happy about getting grandchildren and another grandchild.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. My parents, that's been a blessing having my family, so they've been really on board with it. And I just can remember the joy and gratitude that everybody had, both sides of the family. When, we were like, we're pregnant. Like they were super excited and happy and grateful. So that's been all good. There hasn't been much pushback, but like, I don't think like in my personal life, there's been much pushback. But if you look at society and you look at the news and you look at social media, you just naturally feel pushback because society is giving that to you. Yeah. Like everything out there says like, don't get married and don't have kids. Yeah. Because kids are a nuisance. Kids are a problem. Kids are not a gift. So living the opposite of that, of like being completely open to life. And we talk about this a lot, just like being open to life. Like that's hard, but it's beautiful and it's awesome. And it's like if we could have contracepted and waited 5 years to have a baby and traveled the world and saved up money and done whatever we want. But like when I got to hear the heartbeat of my daughter, like
something else.
Like this is a gift. Yeah. This is a blessing like beyond anything else. And sure, like Carolyn and I will probably not get to travel the world. Yep. We'll probably not get to do whatever we want. we won't get to go visit our friends in college whenever we want to and hang out with them and do whatever we want because I'm working a full-time job and we have a baby. That is like, it's my wife and then my child. The pushback has just been from the media of just like kids are a nuisance, kids are a problem. Don't have a child.
Yeah. How have you balanced that? Because I think I struggle with the same thing of kind of balancing knowing what God wills, being open to children. So obviously being fully aware of what that entails, having a child or expecting a child, or always knowing that when you're intimate with your wife, that there's a possibility for a child.
Right.
And then also at the same time, like as husbands, we're very concerned with providing for our families, ensuring that, not ensuring that we're going to be rich, but ensuring that, we're not, as best as we can, living paycheck to paycheck. And, I know that it's not my wife's concern.
Right.
That the financial side, I do all the financial side. Like my wife,
me too.
She's aware, she's fully involved. Like we make decisions together, but that's not her main. Not her main concern.
Yeah.
That is my main concern. So, how have you dealt with balancing those two things? Of you have very real vocational obligations for providing for your family, for making money, for doing all these things, and also being open to God's will, preparing your family for your new daughter, relationships, all those things. So how have you balanced those two, and kind of what have you found to be difficult between that, and kind of how have you overcome those?
Yeah. I mean, it is really hard. That's the thing, is like saying yes to God's call it's not easy, but it's always worth it. And as men, like you were saying, like we are by design, like we're designed to provide and protect.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at St. Joseph, that's what he did.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's not easy, and it's hard to balance. It's hard to balance work, school, married life, having a child, paying bills, all these things that like just it adds up, and then at the same time also as like having a prayer life.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that when life gets busy, like I think as humans we tend to just be like, okay, prayer is the first thing out the door.
Yep.
And so that was something for me that I had to to prioritize everything rightly. Is it's like, okay, if I have this much time spent on my phone versus this much prayer time, okay, my phone time needs to be cut down. So that's a big one too. But it's hard. I mean, especially like working for the church. Like
that was my follow up.
Yeah, there's fears of being like a youth minister.
Your upward mobility is not. You're not going to be the CEO of the parish.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's right. That's not how it works. So, but I think that's where it goes back to just trusting the Lord.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where he wants me. So he's going to give me the grace and the means to provide.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I think as Americans, we have this idea of what success should look like.
Yep.
We all want the biggest house.
Yep.
We all want the nicest car.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to go on 3 vacations a year.
Yep.
And it's like, we need to understand that it might be possible that God's calling us to do something that will not give you those things. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I feel like I'm doing what God's calling me to right now. And as a youth minister, I'm not going on 3 vacations a year. I don't have a nice house. I don't have a brand new car, you know? But saying yes to that, I think like is humility, but also trust.
Yeah.
And it's difficult and it's hard to balance it. And it just means like the unimportant things in life have to be cut out, and you have to be purified of those. So like I said earlier, it's like I'm not scrolling on my phone for 3 hours because I'm working, and then I come home to my wife and it's like I still have to fit in schoolwork.
Yep.
So it's like I have to choose what I ought to do, not what I would want to do.
Yeah.
And I have to choose after a long work day to do homework when I'd rather just like be on my phone.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And I have to choose to, not go do something that I think would be super fun because we can't afford that.
Yeah.
And instead to save money because I've got a daughter coming and like we have to buy diapers.
Yeah.
Like diapers or do something fun. And it's like, it seems like that's like it would be way more awesome to go do something fun, but it's like, it's not what I'm called to.
Yeah.
Like do the hard thing.
Yeah.
Because again, that's where holiness is found.
Yeah. Yeah. have this conversation so often with, people in my life that push back on our way of life, the way we choose, to do different aspects of our life. And like when Joy and I talk and when we're kind of venting to each other about conversations and, the thing we always say is like, I love going on vacation. I love going to Europe. I've been to Europe a bunch. It's super fun. Those are memories that I'll have forever.
Right.
It's great. But it's not as great as, like, take this morning, for example. My wife is a school teacher. She was giving the ACT this morning to her students. So she had to be at school at 7. She normally takes our oldest to school because he likes to ride with her. And I take the youngest to school. They go to school at the same place, but he likes to go with her. So she takes him and I take the little one. This morning she had to leave early, so he had to go to school with me. He's gotten into this new routine where when you go in when you go in to wake him up, he wants you to lay in bed with him. Yeah. He's not in a bed, he's in a crib. So he says, sit. And he hits the bed and he says, sit. And of course you're going to do what he says. Yeah. So when she gets him up, she goes and lays in the bed with him for 5 minutes and then gets him up. So this morning I had the privilege of going in there and he was going, sit. So I get in the bed with him and I'm laying there with him and he's cuddling up next to me and I'm like scratching his back and he's like trying to fall back asleep and I'm like, no, we got to get up. Like I got to get you ready and get your brother up. And that's better than vacation. Yeah. I'm sorry. It just is.
100%.
It just is. 100%. I'm sorry. It is.
Yep.
And when I look back 10 years from now, I'm not going to remember the vacation. I'm going to remember like those types of moments.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get those moments if you're not open to God's will.
100%.
And that's not to say, people that can't have children, that's not to downplay that. Like your openness to life is what God is calling you to be.
Yeah.
The gift of children is a gift. So, that's a real sacrifice that God is asking some people to make and some people not to make.
Right.
But again, your willingness to be open to God's will is what, like, that is where your true joy will be found.
Yeah.
And if you're blessed to have enough money that you can do all these things, then great, give thanks to God because of that.
Yeah.
But for me, for our family, for your family, you just might not be called to that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
even though the world tells you that it's better to have financial freedom, to have so much comfort that you don't worry about anything. Yeah. And for some people, maybe that's great. But for me, like for our family, like it's probably just not ever going to happen.
Right.
And we have to be willing to admit that it's okay because if we're doing what God's willing, He's going to provide for us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that was something that I was able to see growing up from my parents. Is like they were open to life, big family, and it's like we didn't get to go out to eat at restaurants because like it would be expensive to pay for 8-9 people to go out to eat.
Yeah.
And so you just like seeing my parents make that sacrifice and paying for us to go to Catholic school.
Yeah.
Like that takes a big chunk out of it too.
Yeah.
And so I think like having priorities right, as a family, like financially, the most important things in life are like like the faith. And so like they're putting their money towards that for tuition for school. And then like whatever's left over, it's like we may be able to go on a vacation this year and we may not be able to.
Yeah.
But again, when I look back on my childhood, the memories that I have that I like look back with gratitude on were like me and my all of us siblings just running around the house in the backyard playing. Like it wasn't going like I didn't leave the country until I was in college.
Yeah.
Like I'd never been anywhere exciting except for we lived by the beach. And so that was where our vacation was. We would drive to a beach house and stay there for a few nights.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was happy though. It's like we don't always have to chase the bigger and the best thing.
Yeah.
Like I think it was, and that taught me just like this receptivity to like wherever you're at, like you be at peace there.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be searching for something bigger and better, which again, as Americans, is a foreign idea to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had to, thankfully, I kind of grew up, I was an only child, so we had a little bit more freedom than with a big family, but in college and having good mentors and friends, and I think Julie and I had the gift to be able to enter into marriage together, kind of on the same page with that of, we're open to God's will, and whatever that is, like, is going to be a good thing for us. If we don't get to go on vacation a bunch, if we don't get to have the nicest things, if we don't, get to have this thing or that thing, like, okay, so be it.
Yeah.
Like, God will provide for us.
Yeah.
We're doing God's will, and it doesn't mean it's not going to be difficult. As if you watched last week's episode with my wife, we were talking about NFP. I said a lot on there because it's true that, like, God calls us to the cross. So the cross wasn't super enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was good, and it was beautiful, and it was redemptive, but, like, I don't think it felt good to carry the cross up the hill, on the way to Golgotha.
Yeah.
But that's what God asks of us. And so, like, that's probably what it's going to feel like sometimes.
Yeah.
It'll be joyful, and it will, work for the good of your family and for God at the end. But, it just might not be that comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to be reminded that that's what God's probably calling you to.
Yeah.
And so I think you and Caroline embody that. Like, y'all could have not gotten married and just lived the bachelor or bachelorette life together.
Right.
And didn't settle down, but got to do more things and have more freedom. And, but that's not what God was calling you to do. And I don't think you would change anything for that.
Yeah. I think that, like, it probably would have been easier to not get married. I mean, not probably, it would have been easier, but we have this wrong idea that easier means, like, better and happier, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like, just because something is easier doesn't mean that it's going to make you happier.
Yeah.
And so doing the hard thing, like, that is where I've found joy and freedom. And even, like, I remember, like, when I was literally going to propose to my wife, we were in a church down at Christ the King, and that's where I proposed to her, like, right in front of the crucifix there. And we were sitting in the pew right before, we were just in there praying. And right before I got up and, like, walked to where I was going to propose, I remember just, like, there was just, like, a lot of fear and just nervousness, obviously. And I remember just, like, looking at the cross, the crucifix, and saying, like, Lord, I lay my life down for you and for Caroline. And then I got up right after that, get on the knee and propose.
Yeah.
And that's what the Christian life is.
Yeah.
It's laying my life down for Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. And that's a great circling back to your beginning point about idolizing the priesthood and seeing the priesthood as, like, that's my way to holiness. Like, that's the way that I can, like, do good things and be great and, do all these great things. But God was like, nope, that's actually, that's not true. And also, you're called to be great and to do great things.
Yeah.
Like, here specifically.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I've seen I've seen God do beautiful things in my life.
Yeah.
In the midst of ordinary small things,
Yeah. So, it's just it's like the call to just do the ordinary things with great love and to be faithful.
That's right.
So last thing, you are a father because life begins at conception, but what are you looking forward to the most about being a father of a child outside of the womb?
Yeah.
In June.
Thought a lot about this, prayed a lot about it. I remember back this past, I think it was in the fall, Father Peyton Plessla was down at Christ the King preaching a homily. It was on Father's Day. And he said a line from von Balthasar that I've hit me and has stuck with me. And it said, when a child, like a baby, you're holding a baby and the baby looks up into their father's face, they can't distinguish between the love of their father and the love of God. Like, it's just one and the same. He said that's from von Balthasar. And that stuck with me because, like, that's a big responsibility as a father, as a dad, like, that your children, like, they view you like you are everything to them. And that requires everything of you. Not just part of you. It's not just like, I'm going to take care of you sometimes and then I'm going to leave and, like, I can do whatever I want. It's like, no, your entire life is poured out for first your spouse and then your children. And as crazy as it is, I'm excited for that. Like, as men, like, we just really deep down, we desire to give ourselves fully. And, like, I'm excited for that. I just want to, and of course, like, you say that now and it's like, oh, it's going to be hard. It's like, and you can say it's hard, but once you're in the moment, like, it's different. Like, when you're waking up at 2 a.m. And you got to take care of a child, or you got to say no to doing something because you have to focus on your child. Like, that's hard and that's sanctifying. But as crazy as it is, like, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of growth there.
Yeah.
And a lot of sanctification.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to for the simple things of like coaching my kids in sports and hanging out with them and playing with them and seeing them grow up. All these things that, like, again, those memories are like actually what you're going to be holding on to more than anything else, more than any success I can have in my job, more than, I don't know, any fun memories of doing these crazy things that society says are fun. It's like, I'm going to remember like looking at my child for the first time.
Yep.
And I'm going to remember the first time she walks.
Yep.
That's what's going to be the most important.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if you've listened to us at any point, you know, I'm a huge Balthazar fan, but yeah, it's just like such a, like, I've got 2 boys, I've got a toddler and an 8-month-old. And there's something really difficult about being a father for that reason. Because like your children see God the Father. Well, they should see God the Father in you. Like, you should mirror God the Father's love to the best of your ability, you know, as a fallen human being.
Yeah.
But there's I have to catch myself a lot. It won't really happen for you, and, you know, those listening that have older children that are not newborn, it won't happen to you until, you know, maybe she's 7, 8 months old, closer to a year. But the first time that you really get mad at them for something, whether it's, you know, they've done something that you're irritated at, you know, which it wasn't intentional because they can't really be intentional
they don't
yet.
have a reason yet.
Our toddler is intentional, so he can do things very intentionally.
Yeah.
But more of the, like, they won't stop crying.
Yeah.
And you've done everything you can, and they're still crying. Yeah. And you're, like, so frustrated. You're at your wit's end. So the first time that you, like, really get mad at them, I've had to catch myself so many times. Yeah. And I've had that kind of same thought of, after, like, reflecting on it after the fact, because I normally don't think about it during it because I'm emotionally charged from being frustrated.
As most men are. Or actually, I'd say all men.
Yeah. I have to catch myself because, it's like, that is not how God the Father reacts to us.
Yeah.
Like, God doesn't, I don't want to say God doesn't get frustrated. Frustration's emotion. God doesn't really have emotions like that.
Yeah.
God is sad when we don't do his will, you know, whatever sadness means to God. You know, he wants our good. So when we don't do that, something obviously occurs. But it's like, I don't want my children to view God as a frustrated God or like a mad, angry God, because he's not like that. So it's difficult to balance. Yeah. Because, like, as a father, you are the one who typically provides discipline and punishment if need be. So those are good things, and those can be seen as revealing God's justice and God's mercy. And but we have to check a lot sometimes. And I've had to go to confession so many times, and wasn't like some major sin, but it was just like, I'm here again. Sorry, I'm gotten way too angry at my child for not doing something, or being frustrated and kind of lashing out when it didn't need to be that way. Yeah. And so again, it'll be a couple months before that. Yeah. But you'll eventually get there. Yeah. And I know people listening have definitely gotten there before, but where you do lash out, and then you reflecting on it, you're like, I should have checked myself more. Yeah. And it's, you don't want to mean to your children, but also you want to set a good example. Yeah. And reveal who God is truly to your children. Yeah.
Yeah. That's with my job. I get to, like, again, walk with a lot of teens that are struggling with things. And the more that I have, like, again, not that I'm like a spiritual director or anything, I'm not a priest, but like getting to walk with them and see what they're struggling with, I can like pinpoint a lot of times. It's like, okay, you're struggling with this. Like, what is your like human dad? Like, what does he say? What does he say to you?
Yep.
And so this is like a challenge to dads. It's like what you tell your kids and how you treat them will affect them.
Yeah.
Like you can, and again, we're all imperfect, so we're all going to wound our kids in one way or another.
Yeah.
But like what the your dad says about you is going to reflect like what you believe about God the Father.
Yep.
So if you are constantly yelling at your kids,
Yep.
telling them that they're not good enough,
Yep.
that they always mess up, if you always are getting them in trouble, not that you should discipline, you have to discipline because God the Father disciplines, and you know, like, but they need to know that they're loved
Yes.
as they are,
Yep.
not when they start listening enough,
Yep.
when they have a perfect attitude and when they do all the right things, but as they are,
Yep.
they need to know they're loved.
Yep.
And if you don't, like, that's where a lot of issues are going to come up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, something I've been like praying with is like the reason that like the certain sins that we often struggle with are a reaction are because of the wounds that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's usually like why we sin, because we're broken and wounded.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that woundedness comes from our own parents.
Yeah.
And even like really good parents. Like my parents are incredible and awesome and I love them. But of course they were imperfect.
Yeah.
Every parent was, except for Joseph and Mary. And it's like the more that we can like love them like Joseph and Mary,
Yeah.
then the holier they will actually probably be.
Mm-hmm.
And the more better formed they will be.
Yeah.
And less broken they will be.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big task as fathers. So again, I'm excited for it, but it's also like I need to check myself.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not, how can I like lead my kids? Like the church says that like the family is the domestic church.
Mm-hmm.
Like I promise at their baptism that I'm gonna like be the first teachers of the faith.
Yep.
How can I do that if I'm not first myself, like pursuing holiness?
Yep.
You can't.
Yep.
So that's a challenge for myself. Even is just like, am I actually like striving for virtue and holiness?
Yep.
Or is it just something I'm putting in the back seat?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I guess I go to mass on Sunday and that'll get it done.
Yeah.
No, but every day, every single day, you have to choose it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot required of you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, God is forgiving and He's merciful when we fail, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot demanded of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And also another beautiful thing of marriage is that your wife will check you.
Yeah.
Joey
Yeah.
checks me constantly.
Yep,
she's
John checks me
she's
too.
like, you know, I'll like get frustrated and she'll like give me that like that look where it's like she doesn't have to say anything, but you know you messed up.
Yeah.
So I get that a lot
Yeah.
when I get frustrated, and you know we have a toddler now, so you know it's even worse because he's just
Yeah.
he's awesome and I love him more than I love myself, but
Yeah.
he's just it's a lot
It's a
to
lot,
deal with,
yeah.
and he's very emotional,
Yeah.
and so
And that's beautiful that's what marriage is like. That's how marriage should be. It's just
Yeah.
like you're checking each other, like, because we're like the purpose of marriage, the end of marriage is heaven.
yeah,
And so we both need to be checking each other. Are we on that path? Are we doing?
Yes.
Are we striving for virtue? Like, are we doing the right things?
yeah,
And yeah, Caroline so many times is like, Josh, like, come on now. And I can do the same for her too. It's both ways, but that's the beauty of marriage is it's sanctifying and it
Yeah.
challenges you. Like you actually have to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to be more like Christ.
yeah, yeah. It's
each
awesome.
and every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's, you know, it's a great kind of ending is, you know, just like that's what your vocation does for you.
Yeah.
And that's why ultimately you did say yes at 19,
Mm-hmm.
her at 20.
Right.
Because if that was what God was calling you to do, which it clearly was,
Yeah.
then He was going to give you the grace to do it.
Uh-huh.
And that was going to be your path to sanctification. Is to say yes to Him
Yeah.
in the vocation that He chose for you, and you know He will work your good, and Caroline's good, and your daughter's good, and your future children's good through that. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your yes. Thank you for coming on and giving us a good witness of fatherhood, of spousalhood, of being a husband, and saying yes to God's will in our world that tells you not to say yes to God, that tells you to basically do the exact opposite of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's great to have on an example of that for our listeners, for anybody that is checking us out, that, it is possible to be holy. It's possible to strive for holiness. It's possible to become a saint.
Yeah. That's what we were created for.
So thank you for that. Thank you for that witness.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was happy to be here. I'm grateful to have like a friend like you too. So it's nice to not be the only one trying. So it's nice to have other people, people in it with you. That's another big part too, is you gotta have the saints were friends of saints.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful to you and grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what Julie talked about last week too, on the episode of, with her struggles with NFP and kind of all that entails of having girlfriends that are doing the exact same thing that you can vent to, that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can, cry with if need be, that you can, you have people that are going through it together.
Yeah.
Just very happy that you were able to join us. And
of course,
we were able to bring you this episode and this conversation. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you haven't liked us and reviewed us on the podcast apps, please do so. We're continuing to grow. And if you find this helpful, please share it with some friends, share it with your coworkers, anybody that you think would benefit from this podcast. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps us continue to grow, reach more people, to help more people become saints in the parish wherever they are. And we'll see you in the next episode. God bless.